How much do you know about computer cookies and keylogging? If you don't know anything about this, I might want to tell you about it because, you know what? It could be very important, especially if you have problems with your computer. When you think about cookies, you probably remember the smell of fresh-baked cookies that your mother or grandmother baked in their ovens. But computer cookies are just a little different. So who baked these computer cookies? The chef responsible for these cookies was a gentleman by the name of Lou Montulli. And if I got the pronunciation wrong, I want to apologize in advance. I'm sure that this particular information has just altered your vision of childhood cookie consumption. Why did Mr. Montulli design these cookies, and why are they such a security risk today? The answer to that question can be found in the history of the Netscape computer web browser. How many of you people remember Netscape? I do. Mr. Montulli was an employee of the Netscape Corporation back in 1994. This was before we had the Y2K crash. He helped program one of the first hypertext computer web browsers, which was called Lynx. He also helped add things to the HTML standard. You remember how I did a whole bunch of HTML lessons way back in the day? Well, you probably should go back and learn all that. So why did Mr. Montulli create cookies? At that time, computers had static web pages. That meant once the web page loaded onto your computer, it disconnected from the computer that the web page came from. So the server basically forgot who you were the moment it sent you a web page. At first, some computer scientists thought about adding a bit of computer code to every web browser on the internet. This code would identify the person using the web browser. But this led to privacy concerns. That's why we ended up with HIPAA. Computer hackers could easily track people that were using web browsers. Mr. Montulli wanted to create a piece of code that computer hackers couldn't track. That's why he invented computer cookies. Computer cookies are named after the computer term magic cookie. Yes, Puff the Magic... never mind. Anyway, this data packet didn't include a person's name, home address, telephone number, or any other personal identifying information. It just contained the address of the server computer or the client computer. Most non-computer programmers at that time couldn't decipher the magic cookies. So it was a safe way for server computers to identify a client computer. So how did computer cookies actually work? Well, I have a web article about that, and I think I got a link to it right here. If I don't, I'll actually make sure there's one in there before I get done. The server would send a web form to a computer user. The computer user would insert information into the web form. When the computer user finished filling out the web form created a small hidden text file. This text file would be sent to the server that the computer user was interacting with. From that moment forward, the computer server would be able to recognize the computer user. And yes, I do happen to have a web article, and I will put it in the description. But as you may have guessed, web hackers discovered a way to capture the tiny cookie text files and use them to track computer users and identify them. And this caused a lot of fraud problems. But cookies aren't the only way to create headaches for computer users. Web hackers have created ways to record every key you type on a computer keyboard and every spot that you press on your smartphone. And this process is called keylogging. When you install TikTok or some other social media software on your phone or computer, you may be also installing keylogging and cookie software from that company on your phone or computer. You may also end up inserting other tracking software on your computer. So what do you got to do to minimize this tracking software? The first thing you can do is find a piece of software that can disable TikTok's GPS tracking. You might find an opt-out section in the TikTok software. If you can't, I would install software that can block TikTok's GPS tracking. Okay? First of all, I would install DuckDuckGo. That will help hide computer cookies from social media sites because DuckDuckGo doesn't store computer cookies in the same manner as Google does. But what about keylogging? One of the best defenses against keylogging is a software called PCmatic. I have it on my computer. I know it's a little pricey, but you need it. It is somewhat expensive, but it's well worth the price. I would also recommend discussing this security issue with professional computer gurus. They can give you additional tips on how to keep cookies and keylogging away from social media sites like TikTok. And the best solution of them all is, if you don't want a social media site like TikTok getting your keylogging or your cookies, I suggest not installing them at all. I know it's a little hard with YouTube, but at least YouTube's an American company. Think about that. Anyway, that's all I've got on this particular video. I'd like to tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned.